Hello, I would like to welcome two very famous sisters in the Women in Rugby League project and the Life with the Lionesses, Allie and Liz Kitchin, who are former Lionesses from 1996, 98 and 2000. And also they're part of a very famous team in Barrow, which started at the end of the 1980s, should I say. And there was a lot of great internationals came from that team, particularly in the time between 1996 and 2000. Welcome. So pleased that you could make it, and especially both of you together, because you were very famous at the time and pitched everywhere as sisters. So welcome to the interview.
Thank you. Hello.
Thank you. So first of all, tell us, how did you start? You know, obviously born in Barrow. How did you get involved in Rugby League? I don't know who wants to answer first and who wants to take. Right, Liz.
Has to be me. Yeah.
Has to be you.
Has to be me. So I was, it was when I was at school, so in 1992. It was my last year of school, and I remember watching the lads playing a game, and I remember just on the sideline picking up a ball, passing it around with them, and kind of just having a go at it myself. And it was one of the players' dads that just came over to me and actually said, "You do realise, Liz, there is a ladies' team in Barrow. Why don't you go down and give it a go?" So it was not long after that I then made a few inquiries. I spotted someone when I was out, because obviously we were only young at the time. I was only 16. Spotted somebody I knew, and they said, "Yeah, I play for them, come along." And that's what I did. I remember at the time my mum not being overly keen. She kind of dropped me off, took me to where the training was, dropped me off, and then obviously picked me back up. And then ever since then, that was me, not missing a training session. And playing along with the team there in Barrow. I mean, and these were the days back where we were only 9-a-side as well. So this was kind of right at the beginning of the kind of league times when they started. And I remember we were a little bit short on players at the time. So that's when I managed to rope my sister in and said, "What are you doing?" And get her playing. And kind of along with a lot of that, I managed to rope a lot of my friends. My best friend played, then her sister played, and we managed just to build a team through those connections.
So do you remember your first days there then, Allie?
Well, I remember Liz saying she was going to play rugby. I was like, "What are you doing that for?" I was playing hockey at the time, and I just thought, "Oh, it's a bit rough." But I did really like the physical side when I was playing anyway. And then we went down to watch your first game. It was against York. So I remember Julie Cronin. She was just running away, wasn't she, all the time? So we came down, and I was with my partner, Craig, and he said, "Why don't you have a go?" And I was like, "No, I'm not playing rugby." But then I thought, well, actually, might as well give it a go when you said you were short as well. So yeah, I started going down, and then that was it. I still remember the first game. I didn't have a clue of any of the rules at all. And they just said, "If you're going to score, put the ball down under the sticks." And I remember running, and I was right at the end, and I heard someone going, "Put the ball down, where's she going?" And they told me to put it under the sticks. So I was running behind the try line right along, as close as I could get to the sticks to put it down like I've been told, because I didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Fantastic. What lovely memories, because I mean, Barrow is steeped in Rugby League history. So did you have no history with watching Rugby League or anything before then?
I used to go to the rugby discos. Lots, because Walney had a really good men's and lads set up as well, and still does. Yeah. And I just remember going down to watch some of the lads play, go to their presentation nights as well. But that was really all that we'd done previously.
Yeah, so mum in particular wasn't very keen, but dad. So describe how you got your call up for playing for Grip, because there was actually, and I didn't realise, there was Cumbrian teams, wasn't there, that played? Did you ever play in any of the county games?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, we had a Cumbria team, didn't we? But that didn't last very long, did it?
No, we ended up playing with Lancashire. Those blood borders we managed to get. make that sign. Although my mother would say,
Yeah,
my sister is a Lancashire lass, because the border actually changed in
it did.
1970.
Or
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
between us being born anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we were both born in the same hospital, but I was born in Lancashire and Liz was born in Cumbria.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could actually dual code anyway.
Yeah.
Dual county, should I say?
Yeah.
I know the county in the sort of late 1980s and 90s was really quite prolific at that time when and I saw that there was some Cumbrian teams, so I did wonder if you'd sort of had a bit of a go for the county sides. So what was your pathway? How did you get involved in Great Britain then?
We went for trials. Yeah, trials were advertised. I remember the coach at the time, encouraging us all to go down, and quite a group of us. In fact, I think everybody that went down, did we? The majority of us, I think, got actually selected for that. So I think it was down in Lancashire somewhere. Would have been a car journey anyway, like everywhere was at the time. And it was going for trials and then getting the call up, the selection letter.
Yeah. So how old would you have been? So you wouldn't have been playing long, would you, before you started playing in going for trials and things?
A couple of 2-3 years.
Yeah, it would have been that. Yeah, I said it was 1992. I remember when I first started, and that was only kind of the back end of the season, and then a full season after that. So yeah.
So you got the call up. You ended up going training. So what did it mean to your family then at the time?
Oh, I loved it, mum and dad.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say we can't actually have this interview without talking about your mum and dad.
Yeah. or our mum and dad, as the rest of the team did actually call them at the time. So they were fortunate enough, proud parents, always proud of the daughters, and I think probably they would have been a little bit on eggshells just to make sure that both of us did actually get selected, just to go on the tour, and then obviously once we knew we were both selected, obviously there was the whole process of making sure we were in the training squad, then obviously making sure we trained to then secure that spot in the final squad, and all the training plans and things that we had to do and go. And I was at university at the time, and I remember back in Sheffield I was, and we were having on the your bit of paper what I had to do in your diary what we had to do. So I remember doing sprint training up the hills of Sheffield, just in the street, and making sure that we did everything we could to ensure we got selection. So that we could get on that tour. That was one of the things, I always dreamt of as soon as we knew we might be able to get on that tour, was getting on that plane and being able to get over there. Yeah,
and both of you doing it as well. What a great honour for you both, and tribute to you both as well. But your mum and dad, our mum and dad, as you say, that came on all the tours and were one of our main supporters.
Yeah.
So talk us through that 1996 then. What was it like to get that letter? That a lot of the players, as you've heard from the interviews, talk about getting that letter that you're in the squad and then going on tour. Tell us a bit more about that, Allie.
Well, I think it was just the waiting to get the letter, wasn't it? And just like Liz said, just making sure that we were both in the team as well. I just remember getting it and just like, we're both in. So it's really, really good. And then obviously a few other players got the letter from our team as well. So it was all very exciting. And so then when we got itineraries and things, mum and dad booking their flights so that they could come and watch us as well. So that was really good. And just all training together and traveling together to all the weekends, and making sure that we all were doing what we should be doing, just encouraging each other really as well. I remember training in the winter, and my dad coming down. There's a lot of country lanes around here, and my dad following us in the van with the big lights on so we could see where we were going.
Oh wow.
Just making sure that we were getting fitter and fitter, because obviously we were having lots of fitness tests, leap tests, those calipers to test your fat level and things as well at the time, and just really wanting to be in the best possible fitness level. Yeah,
because there was a big contingent from Barrow, wasn't there? That were in that Great Britain squad first off. because they're actually a good team at the time, weren't they?
Yes.
Oh yes, yeah. No, we were certainly up there, especially after the 1998 tour. Well, around that time where we managed to poach Sal and Flo from Askham and get them to come and join us at Barrow.
Yeah. So was there about 5
There
people
was
from Barrow?
5, yeah, in that initial tour, a car full, a car.
People traveling everywhere.
Yeah, and that's what we had to do.
Yeah,
it was certainly a commitment from us to be training on the Saturday, so up and down the motorway training, and then back again, getting on the coach to actually then go and play obviously our rugby games, because obviously not being ideally located on the M62 corridor from where all the teams were located at the time, we had to do a lot of travelling.
And I know Barrow, I always remember it as a referee, you think you've got there and then you've got another hour.
Yeah, from the motorway.
Yeah,
from the
motorway. Longest cul-de-sac in the country.
Yeah.
So it is a hell. I mean, you've got 2 hours, haven't you, before you get to any destination. So it's such a lot of commitment for actually doing that. So what about on and off the field then? Tell us a bit more about that, Liz. So about things on and off the field. What's your memory of obviously all the training and everything else, but what about on the field as well on that first tour?
You go first.
Okay. I just remember going around all these amazing grounds that we trained in and we played in, and just how everyone was really together. I remember my greatest memory, I'd say, is defending on that line at the final test. And it seemed like we were defending because we were winning by 2 or 4 points. And we just had to defend. And we were all just like shouting at each other, come on. Just defending for what seemed like half the match on that line until that final whistle blew. And it was just amazing. Yeah. Really good.
Because I think you were fullback on that test. I think you were fullback, because I remember there was me. I think I was centre, and Chantel Patrick was outside me on the wing, and that's all I remember us doing, just screaming and shouting, just to make sure that, because obviously the series was 1-1 at the time, and it was that final, all down to that final game. So making sure that we actually defended that line and made sure that we secured and won the series.
Yeah. Absolutely. And actually the last team in the UK, Great Britain or England, to beat the Australians in a 3-test series. So actually a great honour, and it was 25 years last year. So you were part and parcel of that. Yeah.
We were children at the time.
Absolutely. So what was it like on tour then with all the lasses?
Oh, it was good fun. Fun.
Really good fun.
Yeah, I think just an experience, being away from home. I know obviously our parents were there, but they obviously weren't with us all the time around the camp, the training camps. We had a laugh with it. There was obviously serious points to it, but also making sure there was a bit of fun as well, just to enjoy it, because it was tough out there as well with the training, and people getting injured and all of that comes part and parcel of actually being part of the touring side. But yeah, I remember actually being in the phone box calling my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, and I just remember after being out somewhere, we use a payphone to ring home. I mean,
I remember leaving my purse in that payphone as well, losing my purse just as well. Mum and Dad were with us, so we could have some money. But yeah, got the payphone, ringing home, like ringing Craig as well. But I remember the fun that we had in between training sessions as well. It wasn't all serious. And I think the social side of it did the team really well, because we got on, because at the time, living in Barrow, we didn't know really any of the other players. So when we went to the training camps and then on tour, it was just getting to know different people that we played against week in, week out. And obviously it was very competitive. We were quite rough with each other, but then when we were all coming to play on the same team, I think the social side and how we all got on really stood us in good stead for those test matches, definitely.
Yeah, I remember we had kangaroo court.
Yeah.
Didn't we? Where if people had done something silly or what have you, that all got brought up in there, and that was quite a way to kind of bond people really together.
Yeah, I know Rebecca talks about losing her makeup as a fine, and actually paying the fine so she could get a makeup back. And people have talked about that and how important it was, and actually going on tour and the friendships they've made on the tour, and how it really sort of cemented all of that. So you went to 1990. What was it like coming home as winners then in 1996? You know, the last team to actually beat the Australians in a 3-test series. You get back home, and what happens next?
It's kind of a bit, I don't know, a bit surreal, isn't it? At the time, obviously, it's not kind of how it is now, where it can be almost out there and everybody knows about it instantly, isn't it? It's almost got to filter through, you know, getting in the local press and getting that coverage to get it out there. And then I think probably even at the time it was the picture, you know, the big long wall one. I remember that, and that obviously going up in Ascombe Clubhouse. Actually, I think it was Sal that donated hers in there, and I remember it being there. So it's almost that pride afterwards. You don't, as you go through it at the time, I don't think you realise what an achievement it is, because you're back in the next season and training again, and then there being talks of another tour, so you've got to then almost just carry on. I mean, and I know you hear a lot of sports people actually do say that when you're living through it, you can't look back at it. It has to be once you finish that you can have those kind of memories and be proud.
Absolutely. And it is a proud moment, isn't it? So you came back, and then they announced there was going to be a tour to New Zealand in 1998. Tell us a bit more about that, Ali, and the preparations for that.
So it was the same again. We both really wanted to go. So I remember Simon came in for that tour, didn't he? So the fitness side of it changed, and the sack training that we did, and getting all the parachutes and these ladders he was getting out. We're like, what's all this stuff? But it was absolutely brilliant. And I do really like training, and I did really like all the new things that were brought in as well. And I definitely thought we were much fitter again, even though we'd stepped it up for Australia. I think we did an even bigger step up for New Zealand, and with the training plans, and we even did sit-up bleep tests, I remember, as well as running bleep tests, which quite a few people were throwing up after. But I do remember there was a lot of training for New Zealand, and we had the extra training weekends in there as well, which were really good. So we were traveling, staying over at other people's houses, getting ready for games on the Sunday. So we're forever on the motorway.
Huge commitment, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about the fundraising side of things, about getting funds together, Liz?
Oh, well, we were quite fortunate in that we had some local people that did sponsor us, and you know, and it was you forever kind of sending out letters as you did for the club as well. So you know, you were trying to run a club at the same time and make sure you were getting the funding, obviously, because we needed to get funding to be able to get coaches to the games every week. So we're almost having to do the barrow. But I do remember one of my memories is being at Leeds with the old bucket out before one of the games, and just being there. And remember Roland was there. He was sat in the stands, and we had the shaker buckets out by all the gates to try and raise some funds. Bucket collections, and then obviously looking for sponsorship, and managed to get sponsorship from local businesses.
I know a lot of talk about the amount of, you know, doing it year after year after year as well. And with your added that you do live in Cumbria, which you always have to get a bus anywhere when you wanted to play any game away as well, didn't you? So
our coach bill was about £5,000 a year. So we had to raise that on top. So you're spending a couple of £100, because as soon as Ascombe folded, we didn't have any local games. Our nearest game was Wigan. So that'll be 2.5 hours away. And then going all the way over to York, Bradford, Hull.
Oh, the dreaded
4
Hull.
hours. But yeah, so yeah, I dislocated my elbow there, so we had hospital stops off in Hull as well, so 6 hours home. But yeah, we had fun on the buses though. We're on the local radio a few times. So yeah, fun times.
Yeah. So 1998, off to New Zealand. Our mum and dad off again.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us a bit more about the New Zealand tour and what the differences were between sort of Australia and New Zealand, as in competitively and your experience.
I can remember the first test. I remember the first test.
I can remember the first game because I was watching and you were playing, and it was that lass.
Oh, from the kickoff.
Yeah, she just ran straight at you and absolutely creased you, and was like, everyone was like, is she going to get up? She just got up, played the ball, and I thought, oh no, surely it must have winded you that. Just like, woof, totally. And they set off straight away to put their mark down, didn't they?
Yeah. I think physicality wise, they were such stronger athletes.
Yeah, it was solid, weren't they?
Yeah, we weren't quite prepared for the intensity, I don't think, of how they were going to be at us. And I think throughout that series, unfortunately, obviously we didn't win. But yeah, at least we've managed to be competitive throughout a few of those games. But yeah, they were just a different level. Just a different level, I think, and possibly throughout for those years, the way that people approach tours and things, it's very much more of a professional. It's about the sport, not necessarily about some of the downtime afterwards. And I think they were out there to win, and they certainly had trained and had some very physical ladies.
Yeah, it was a tough tour, wasn't it?
Yes,
tough lesson.
But
we came back stronger. So Liz, you then didn't do 2000, did you? You decided enough was enough.
Yeah. I mean, it was to do with commitments and things. Obviously, I was vice captain on the 1998 tour, so that was a big decision for me, and I felt that I couldn't commit fully to life in general with working. I was still studying for SEMA exams, and just the amount of commitment to the club. I was coaching the side at the time as well, so there was just a lot, and something had to give. Unfortunately, it was the GB that had to go. So to give up one day of my weekend
to get that back,
time back,
get that, and fully understandable, because it is such a huge commitment, isn't it? It takes over your life, doesn't it? Being part of just the rugby league world, but then adds international tours onto it is just huge. So, but Ali, you decided to keep up with it. What was it like 2000 on your home turf?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, really good. Really enjoyed it. Being in the hotel all together again, and being allowed to nip home for some downtime as well. So that was good as well. We could take our washing home and not have to spend hours in laundrettes and things. So just collect everything up, and then actually having our friends and family come to watch us as well. Work colleagues and everybody came down for the final, I remember, especially. So that was really special.
Yeah, and you beat the Australians again.
You
did in an awesome game. I think it was 4-0 or something, wasn't it, in the semi-final?
Yeah, was that the one at
was it Dewsbury?
Was it Dewsbury?
Oh,
yeah.
Not Castleford.
I know there was a really close game at Castleford as well, but everything seemed to be close. Every game that we played seemed to be really close. But I do remember quite a lot of our special moves worked that we've been practicing for hours and hours, because the gameplay seemed to be much better. We all knew, because I know that I trained for second row as well, so we knew more positions as well in that one. So yeah, it was a really good.
And finished runners up, but actually the New Zealanders were so impressed with how far you'd come. I think you've got the top 5 teams playing in that Rugby League World Cup. That was men and women's Rugby League World Cup. So pretty awesome place to be, really, and how far the game had come in a very short space of time, actually, internationally.
It did. It felt a lot more professional. Every time we did a tour, every time we had new updated training plans, everything was just moving on. Even like diet, from all eating together in the hotel in 2000 was different from the last two tours as well. I just remember being forced to drink lots of water and different sports drinks and things as well. And
again, having to raise finance for it all, even though it's on your home turf, was another challenge, wasn't it?
Luckily I was working for a large bank at the time, so I was fortunate enough to have my sponsorship, so then I was just helping other people to get theirs, just writing letters. It was hard, but really worth it in the end.
So when you look back, what was the most challenging part? We'll start with you, Liz. What do you think the most challenging?
I think just the actual commitment, I think probably was the most challenging in just being able to train and cover off everything else that you're doing outside of the training, and just being able so that we can be in our best shape possible to be able to compete. It was great. It was great fun. As I said, there was something, remembering all the moves and some of the challenges. But I think some of that would be the commitment.
How about for you, Allie?
Same travel. I think the travel. I'm not the greatest traveller in the world. I was always the one sat at the front of the bus as well. And then having to travel up on a Friday, stay over, train on the Saturday, travel back home, then travel to a game on a Sunday. After 6 years of doing that, it just it took its toll, and I think just really just couldn't carry on, as well as having another life outside of rugby. Travel was the hardest thing.
Absolutely. And as we've already said, coming from Cumbria and Barrow, that is, that has always been a challenge for teams. So it's quite understandable and at that level. So what's the most positive? What's positive? What you got from the positive aspects, Liz?
I think it kind of sets you up for life. I think as a grounding. At the start of probably, my adult career, I was 18 at the time in 1996 for the first tour, and I just think that whole experience of being with other people, being on tour, being sharing rooms. I mean, obviously, I think we probably did share sometimes, with Jane Banks.
Sleepwalking. She was. Like, what are you doing, Jane? We did actually go on holiday with them as well, didn't we? So we got used to it.
So I think, I think just that whole being with different people from obviously different areas of the country as well, just different backgrounds, and just that whole experience. And as I said, I remember when we were in Australia, I've subsequently been back since and actually remembered where the hotel was and where we used to walk past, and the training grounds, and just seeing those countries as well and what was out there. I mean, and I think just that experience to live through. And one of the things I know I didn't touch on, but I just remember that going on the plane, just being that team spirit. We had to put the medical equipment onto the plane in some of them because they wouldn't touch it. We had this big silver box that we had to push around and actually physically get onto the plane. Because
Paula's box.
Paula's box. But so I think really positive. I wouldn't have changed it for anything.
How about you, Allie?
It's meeting and getting to know lots of people that we're playing against week in, week out, getting to know our team members as well a lot better, as well as doors that it opened for us as well. The other things that came off the back of that, so going down to Wembley for the 1997 Challenge Cup final, being on the pitch at Wembley in those lovely white tracksuits.
Waving flags.
Yeah, that was amazing. I just remember being stood in the tunnel, and when we came out, the crowd, there was like 80,000 there, I think, that day, and just the sound vibrating right through your chest, you're like, woo! But yeah, that was amazing. We got to go up to a Great Britain training camp with the men as well to launch the new kit, because that was in Ambleside. So yeah, lots of good things and great experiences came off the back of that as well. So yeah, lovely.
Oh, it makes me goosebumpy sometimes when some of you are all talking about, you know, that feeling of when you're playing for your country, but also, you know, representing you as women in sport. It's just so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you look back, reflect on your achievements, what do you think, Liz?
I think sometimes I can't believe I actually went and did it.
Yeah,
a lot of people are saying that.
Yeah,
exactly. You know, people don't realise. You know, it's not the first thing that when I meet new people, it doesn't often come up in conversation about what you did or where you do, and then sometimes people go, "Did you really play rugby? Did you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I actually went on tour twice as well." And you know, and they're like, "Really?" And just I think that is how you reflect back is when you're actually having conversations with people that don't know you back then at the time, and actually speaking to new people. So it's the memory side of it, I think, really, and and what we achieved at the time.
Yeah. How about you, Allie?
Yeah, same again. Even my 15-year-old son again said the other day when we were doing this, he was like, "So did you actually play for Great Britain?" And I was like, "Yeah, how many times have we said?" And he was like, "But really for your country?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So yeah, it's still, it seems like sort of a dream that because it was that long ago now, that we actually did it, and had our family with us at the time as well. So.
Yeah, it does feel surreal, doesn't it? It does seem such a long time ago. So what would be messages to the generation now and the next generation of women wanting to get involved in rugby league but also play internationally? What's your message to them, Liz?
Oh, go for it. Yeah, put as much time and effort as you can into it, because you will reap the rewards from it. And get involved, even sometimes when it is hard. You know, as we've said, it's just that commitment, have that commitment, because you're not going to be able to do it forever. So I think just the experience and that you get from that, and from being in a team, any kind of sports teams, but I think especially in the rugby world, it's a fantastic sport, and you know, now the opportunities are even more than they were when we were around. So yeah, definitely get in there and relish them. Yeah,
it's great for women's sport at the minute, isn't it?
Yes,
absolutely brilliant. How about you, Allie?
Yeah, just the same. If you get the opportunity, definitely take the bull by the horns, do as much training as you can, and give it that real commitment, and you'll enjoy it and have memories for the rest of your life. So yeah, definitely go for it.
Well, thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure. I am loving doing this because I'm just meeting old people from the past that I hadn't seen for so long. And actually, you know, the famous sisters, the famous Kitchin sisters who played internationally. And of course, our mum and dad, who played such an important role supporting us all around the world, all the Great Britain Lionesses. Thank you for your time. And thank you for just taking this time out and for actually putting Barrow on the map as a you know, as a not just a town, but a rugby league town who heralded so many internationals. Thank you so much.
Thank you.